US intelligence reports have raised concerns about Israeli spy agencies eavesdropping on American negotiators working on a peace deal with Iran. This comes amid rising concern over a more general counterintelligence threat by Israel. Israel and the United States have long known and tolerated that each was spying on the other, but an intensified Israeli effort to learn about US positions in talks with Iran has crossed the line, according to some American officials. As a result, the Department of War has raised the counterintelligence threat posed by Israel to its top level. In a report written by the Defense Intelligence Agency and other military intelligence offices, they outlined various efforts by Israel to spy on American military personnel and government officials. Israel has attempted to undermine negotiations with Iran to prolong the conflict. After the US and Iran agreed to a ceasefire in April that was intended to extend to Lebanon, Israel ramped up its war against its northern neighbor. Current and former US intelligence officials told NBC News that while it is common for allies to spy on each other, the current espionage by Israel is well beyond what is expected. Israel has denied the allegations, whilst the White House dismissed the report. As public opinion continues to decline amongst Americans about Israel, this latest revelation only makes things worse. The war in Ukraine reached a new milestone this week after passing its 4-year anniversary back in February. The war has now outlasted World War I and shows little sign of ending. The war has raged on as peace talks have stalled and the battlefield reality remains stuck, with both sides making little gains. Ukraine remains completely dependent upon Western support and arms to stay in the war. At the same time, Russia has reorientated its entire economy towards the war effort. Whilst Ukraine has been successful in striking Russian energy infrastructure and causing great pain, this has had little impact on the front lines and altering the battlefield reality. Russia may have started the war badly, but it reorientated, adapted, and made the necessary changes to gain the advantage. Russia currently occupies 20% of Ukrainian territory. This hasn't changed much in the last year, and there is little Ukraine can do to alter this. Ukraine in many ways finds itself in the same position as Germany in World War I. Maintaining the war effort is draining its resources, economy and finances. It remains to be seen how long Ukraine, much like Germany in World War I, can remain in the war. At least 15 people have been killed in clashes between protesters and security forces in Pakistan-Administered Kashmir. This came after authorities conducted a violent and sweeping crackdown on protests, including an internet shutdown, mass arbitrary arrests, and deadly use of force. The unrest has been brewing for weeks as a coalition of Kashmiri groups called for protests due to legislative seats being reserved rather than contested. On June 5th, Pakistan's government announced that elections would be held in Pakistan-administered Jammu and Kashmir on July 27th. On the same day, it suspended all internet and mobile network signals in the region until June 12th. This came on the back of the Jammu and Kashmir Joint Awami Action Committee planning protests after negotiations with the government over the makeup of the region's legislature broke down. Pakistan then proscribed the organisation under the first schedule of the Azad Jammu and Kashmir Anti-Terrorism Act 2014. For many, branding a grassroots organisation as terrorist on vague grounds while simultaneously cutting the region off from the outside world has led to protests to grow. The reservation of 12 seats for Kashmiri refugees who do not live in Pakistan-administered Kashmir in the local legislative assembly election has been a contentious issue in the region. It effectively bars people who live inside Pakistan-administered Kashmir from contesting the seats, which make up almost a quarter of the legislature. Azad Jammu and Kashmir is governed separately from Pakistan's provinces. It has its own president, prime minister and legislative assembly, though Pakistan retains significant influence through federal institutions and control over defense, foreign affairs and key strategic matters.